Hey guys, welcome back to Time Out with Trish. I am your host, Trish, and today we are going to make an effort to stop overthinking. But before we get into this episode, I want us to take a moment. Take a moment to breathe, be still, whatever you're doing. If you're riding in your car, of course, we want to be safe, but silence your thoughts for a minute. Whatever you're going through, any frustrations, let it go for a moment. Any bills that are due, past due, let's lay all of that down for a moment and take some time out. Let's take a deep breath. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's get into this episode. Okay, so first, thinking about our problems are natural. How else would we solve them? You have to think about your next move. From even the simplest things, like deciding what you'll have for dinner after work, weekend plans, kids going back to school, deadlines. We have to think first, always. But when we think about something too much, it causes us to neglect other areas that need our attention. When our minds and energy is consumed by one problem, or two, or three, we become less productive and mentally drained. And this is what's known as overthinking. It's not enough to think about a problem. We have to turn our thoughts into action and come to a resolve. Hey guys, so I had to pause this episode to give y'all some exclusive information. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. That's right, 100% free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And a little fun fact about me, I record right from my phone. Yep, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's that simple. Why did this happen? What if this happens? What might happen if? Overthinking is natural and it's completely human. It's our choice to either make things less or more complicated. When we overthink, we add unnecessary stress to what could already be a stressful situation or not. The moment we feel drained from being so absorbed in our own thoughts is the moment overthinking starts to drown us, which is exactly what it feels like. When I overthink, I get these terrible headaches, I'm fatigued, I'm just not happy. It's like a cloud of depression that comes in. I don't want to be bothered with anyone. And the overthinking causes me to have a lot of mental exhaustion. I think it's important to understand that once we realize we're overthinking is when we need to usher the presence of God in. Take a moment to think about something that you really want to do or something that you've been wanting to do for a very long time. Maybe you wanted to start a podcast, but you didn't and you haven't because you're overthinking the smallest details, cover art, your logo. And because you don't have these things, you've hesitated and you have not started that podcast. Those things can come later. You just need your voice to be heard. You need to take the action and do it. Same thing with a YouTube channel. Lots of people want to start a YouTube channel. And while a whole lot of people do have a YouTube channel, it does not take away from the next person and the next person that may want to start one. But sometimes we're so consumed with wanting to be perfect. We're thinking of the perfect first video and how perfect it has to look and how the lighting has to be and the angles and all these things. I've seen so many YouTubers who have over hundreds and thousands and even the millions of subscribers whose first video was not the best at all. But look where they are now, because they did with what they had. They did not overthink, and they decided to put those thoughts into action, and they went for it. You have to train your brain. Pay attention to the way you think. Become more aware of your mental habits. What kind of mental habits do you have? Are you one that always worries about the next step? Are you one that always worries about what if this doesn't work out or what if this happens? Training your brain is literally a mental practice. You have to train it to start thinking differently and building better, healthier habits. And over time, that muscle becomes stronger and you then become mentally stronger. You have to challenge your thoughts. It's easy to get carried away with negative thoughts. I do it all the time, but I have to stop myself. I have to encourage myself that what if things do go right? What if through action my prayers are answered? Challenge your thoughts. Every time a negative thought creeps in, challenge it with a positive one, with the more constructive one. Keep the focus on the action. Keep the focus on solving the problem rather than the problem itself. Dwelling on your problems is not helpful. It only makes matters worse. But looking for a solution, that is where you have to keep your focus. What can I do? What is in my hands? What can I control? Consider how you can prevent the problem and challenge yourself to identify some solutions. Sometimes there's not just one answer to a problem. There's multiple. Try, and try again. If it's something that you have no control over, think about certain things that you can do to cope with it. Really sit in your stillness and the quiet. Pray about it. What can I do to cope with my situation right now? I have no control over this, but what can I do? What do I have the ability to do right now in the midst of this quote unquote disaster? Focus on the things that you can control, like your attitude, your efforts. It is my hope, it is my prayer that whatever you may be facing, that you have the courage to stop overthinking your overthinking, but to combat it with more positive thoughts and understanding what you can control. I really hope this time out helped you and inspired you in some way to keep moving. If you have not moved, you've stayed still in your overthinking, I hope it inspires you to see where you need to start. It won't be perfection. Perfection is boring. It's the imperfections that makes it fun. We learn the lessons. There's so much beauty within imperfections. Thank you so much for listening, and we will take some time out next time.